Hi guys, I'm Samantha.
I'm Zach.
And we're Coal Country Homestead. So we wanted to bring you here with us today for a quick video on who we are, why you should watch us, and what our plans are for our channel. We have been putting this video off forever because we have wanted it to be pretty and perfect and neat, and the reality is that homesteading life generally isn't any of those things. So here we are, New Year's Eve in our pantry, coming to you in our sweatshirts, and we figure if you're our kind of people, you're gonna relate and enjoy the content anyway. So do you want to start, Zach, with a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So basically just want to give you a quick background on how we got started, or at least how I got my start in homesteading. Back in 2016, I got an opportunity to move to a farm, and I ended up taking that opportunity, and I also met Sam that year. So basically I had a raw farm with no animals on it, and it was a trucking business being run out of the farm, and I had an agreement with the owner that I was able to do whatever I wanted with the farm side of it, as long as I helped him with his company. So I ended up diving straight in. We got 600 chickens that year.
Starting small.
Yeah. I really didn't know much about anything as far as, farming went. So I was just flying by the seat of my pants, and I got the 600 chickens, and I just started doing so much research and learning as fast as I could about the proper way to take care of animals and all that good stuff. So we ended up building, a couple coops, and learning all the basics on how to care for chickens, and we ended up doing really good, and I really loved it. So I ended up having a small chicken business, selling those chickens to like people who wanted backyard chicken flocks. So people who come and buy 10 chickens at a shot from me, and I would sell them as pullets. So I would sell the chickens for like $12 to $15 a piece, and I was able to supplement their feed with that money. So that's kind of where things got started, and then slowly but surely I just added to the animals. So I ended up getting about 18 geese, 12 ducks, 2 cows, 10 pigs.
So you had all of these animals on the farm. You were working outside of the farm too, essentially, and you had a garden too.
Yeah, we had about a 10,000 square foot garden that year, and we planted all kinds of different tomatoes and vegetables, watermelons, pumpkins, squash, broccoli, kale, cauliflower, pretty much a little bit of everything that first year. And I didn't really know too much about the ins and outs of gardening besides what I had done with my family when I was younger. So I had a little bit of a background and know-how in gardening, but as far as like the specifics went and how to care for everything properly, that was all a learning process. So that first year, I kind of just let everything run wild. I ended up trying to, I remember, string up the tomatoes somehow because they got so big and were falling over. So I had ran some wires across the rows, and I remember that being an epic fail as well. They ended up just sprawling on the ground, which, I mean, even today, we still kind of let that happen.
Oh, they're kind of wild.
Yeah, tomatoes are just kind of wild, and they want to grow like vines. So sometimes you end up just letting them do what they want to do because it's too much work to do otherwise. But
so that was your first year on the farm.
Yep, that was our first year on the farm.
And like Zach said, we met in 2016. Right. We developed a friendship in that time, and we started our real relationship in 2018. I'm a mom of 2 girls, and my youngest was on a visit to the farm. She fell in love with collecting eggs and seeing the chickens going into the coop, and she was just a little thing, and instantly took to it. So of course I had to go and order some chickens for us to keep some chickens. I'm go to pick out the fancy chickens online and have them delivered, and have a small coop from Tractor Supply, and we were set to go, right? Yeah. Didn't exactly work out so well. She didn't have such a love for it anymore when she had to traipse outside in the snow and collect the eggs and feed the chickens. Unfortunately, we had one chicken that survived from that batch of chickens, and we learned a lot. And Pixie, the chicken, we still have her to this day. So that was in 2018, and in 2019, Zachary moved here with us, and we blended our family. And we also have my mother and my grandmother, so we became a family of 6 in our home. Busy, active all the time. So yeah, so that's a little bit there. And then we decided in 2021 that we were really going to take this on full time. But I guess I'm getting ahead of myself because I haven't said anything of who I am per se. I too have worked in the corporate world for my whole life, pretty much. I was a really young mom of 2 girls. I went to school and continued working and trying to do the best for them as possible, and no experience with gardening or farming. I always say I'm the farmer's assistant. But I am no stranger to the kitchen, and my love language is feeding people. So I do the canning and preserving. I'm a first generation canner. The last person in my family that would have done any canning would have been my great grandmother, and I didn't get any knowledge from her as far as how to do any of this. I did inherit some of her jars, which I'm thankful to have, but we've definitely canned quite a bit, from water bath canning to pressure canning, a lot of by the book canning, but there's a good, comfortable understanding I have in some things that I feel comfortable making the decisions on my own. So there's a little bit of that. We've canned probably over 2,000 jars at this point in what we've consumed, what we have on our shelves. So there's a lot of preserving. We do dehydrating, a little bit of fermenting, a lot of time in the kitchen that we spend. So
yeah, I mean, we wanna learn and do more fermentation and other forms of preservation and stuff. But the canning was such a great add-on and a way for Sam to get involved with the whole process. So like I'm the one that basically does the dirty work and the harder things.
And the kitchen is dirty too, you know?
Well, yeah.
You get your hands dirty there too. But
I mean, she is definitely like the cook. You know, I cook maybe not even once a month, and that's just the way that she shows her love and appreciation for everybody. And it just went hand in hand, having all of the vegetables and being able to use fresh produce from your own garden. And basically that's kind of what we wanted to do for our family, was to have, you know, our own fresh produce and make food from scratch that we knew every ingredient and we knew exactly where it was coming from, and be able to give that kind of healthy option for our family. And I mean, I think that's what a lot of people are looking to do, you know, nowadays with the way things are and how expensive everything is. I think that's what draws people to homesteading and canning and stuff, is the ability to have that healthy option for your family, that you know exactly what went into it and where it came from.
Absolutely. I mean, there's so many tweaks that you can make to suit your family's dietary needs. Like, I can't eat a lot of sugar. he's the sweet tooth. So there's combinations of things and everyone's preferences that can fit into it. It gives you the ability that, you know, if you're not feeling well, I mean, who hasn't been affected by COVID in this world? We certainly have. And when we were ill, we were able to dump a few jars in a pot and have dinner on the table in 10 minutes. And that's just invaluable for anyone. And that influences a lot of what we do, because we both still work outside of the home full time. We have kids, and you know, we're busy just like anyone else. So when you have a lot of harvest coming in and you're up to your ears in tomatoes, you need to figure out what you're going to do with everything. And you certainly don't want to waste anything after putting in so much hard work. Zachary devotes hours and hours to starting seeds, and typically I'm the one there taking notes of what we're starting, but he's the one doing, like he said, the hard work, dirty hands in the dirt starting the seeds. But it really takes a teamwork to get it all done, to get the seeds in the ground, take care of it, harvest it, preserve it, cook with it. So a lot of the time with our channel, we'll be bringing you cooking videos. I'm not the best at documenting my recipes. So I'm more of a dump cook when it comes to actually cooking. So canning has honed in the skills of documenting things and being able to share recipes. One day I hope to give my girls a cookbook that's like a love letter of all of their favorite dishes. So this should help with that. But we have learned a lot in our short time homesteading. We've had a lot of stumbling blocks, but we keep chickens, and we have 2 ducks. We have our garden, everything that we've preserved, starting seeds, as well as organizing seeds is a whole other animal. When you have, you know, you look through the pretty seed catalogs and you want all of them, so you have to figure out a way to organize that. And
yeah, and you'll see as our channel goes on and we put out more videos that we complement each other in a way that really works. She's like a great organizer and documenter, and making up processes that make things work for both of us. You know, like the way we start seeds, it is so much easier because of the planning that goes into it on her part. For me, I would just have it all in my head, and then I would just try to remember it, and whatever came up would come up, and I'd be like, oh, this I don't remember being there. But with her, it's all written down on a piece of paper. That way, when I need to know where something's at, I can go look at her plans and know exactly where I planted something, which ends up being such a big help in the end. And there's just a lot of things like that she does that just makes things so much easier for the whole process. And I think that's really important for people to do, especially when they're just starting out, is to have a plan and write it down, and just have a vision written down of what you want to do. You know, that makes things so much easier.
it does. It helps you track it. And while I'm not the best at documenting my own recipes, I do keep track of the seed starting. But you complement in that you create the visions. I dream up these things in my head, and projects that we've done over the past few years. Like we built an outdoor, or I should say he built an outdoor canning kitchen area for me. And it was just an idea that I had in my head, and that I expressed to him what my vision was, and he made it come to life, mainly from like scrap materials that we had around. And then another project, of course, is our beautiful pantry that we have here, that he custom built to the needs of exactly the sizes of our jars and what we planned on storing there. So we absolutely complement each other in ways that you're strong and perfectionist, and I'm more of a good is good enough kind of thing. So we definitely bounce off of each other. As much as we drive each other crazy with it sometimes, it absolutely works for us. So that's who we are. And what we plan on sharing, of course, is, like I said, our cooking, our canning, our gardening, our chicken tending. Speaking of building, Zachary built our entire chicken coop and run area, which looks like something that you would spend thousands of dollars ordering it custom offline. And he's far too modest, so I will tell him how wonderful it is. But there's so many projects that we've done that we've kind of like don't even think of that we'll begin to share with you. Again, like, we're a family of 6, a blended family with teenagers and a multicultural family at that. So we bring a lot to the table that not everyone can. We've both carved our way in life and learned. I grew up in a small rural coal town with a single mom, and was raised knowing that you have to work hard and always working hard. And Zachary, you've worked very hard as well.
Yeah, I mean, I've always, been a hard worker, and work has always been, one of my number one priorities, and just making sure that, I'm there every day and being dependable. And I think that's what's gotten me so far in life, as far as I am today, is being able to show up every day and be that dependable person. Now, I've always had, the vision outside of work to carve my own path and to make, my own life, and not have to, work for somebody else. And I think that's, both of our, but
We're shaking the camera.
I think that's both of our, dreams one day, is to be able to do what we love for, work, and to be able to bring home money doing, what we really love and enjoy, which is, homesteading and cooking and gardening and all that stuff. So, this is our journey, and we want to bring you along, and have you learn what we learn, and show you what we do. And, everything that we do, we're not experts in,
Yeah. But we've learned a lot.
Yeah, I mean, we've learned so much, and we want to be able to show you as we learn as well.
And for people to know that you don't always have to be perfect. I mean, this life
this is absolutely not going to be a perfect thing that you endeavor on. I mean, there's mistakes all along the way, and that's what builds your confidence and your know-how. As long as you just don't give up, and just know that you learned something by making that mistake, then you'll be better off for it.
Yeah. And I mean, you can always expect to see from us, a real life, a real family. We're not always going to have an aesthetic look to our videos or perfectly neat. We live in a real house with, real messes of a homestead, and we're not that everything's white farm house look. That doesn't exist in homesteading. Things get covered in mud and dirt, and you're, pile of vegetables here that needs to be processed, jars that were just washed over here drying. There's always something going on. We have a real working kitchen, a real working homestead, and a real life outside of that too, and our daily jobs, and just raising a family. So we promise to be like real and authentic, and show you the good and the bad of what this life is.
Yeah, I mean, it's too much work to put on a facade. And it's just too stressful, and it's just too much for someone to take on, to try to be what people want them to be, or what they think they want them to be, when in reality, I think people really appreciate authenticity in real life when they're watching a video and they're like, see, their kitchen is a mess, their house is a mess. It's not all perfect, and it makes
it's a judgment-free zone.
Yeah, it makes them feel better about themselves and what they're doing, and give them validation that what they're doing isn't wrong at all.
Right.
It's real life, and real life is real life.
Yeah, real life is messy. So, I mean, as time goes on, I'm sure we'll share more about, who we are, our upbringing, what made us really dive into this, but that's a pretty good start of the who and the why we're doing it. 2020, like most people, we were affected with, you know, the shutdown of the world, and we traveled a lot, camping per se, spent a lot of time in the woods with our family, and kind of just like soul searching of what was to be, what was going to happen, how we would live the rest of our lives, because obviously there's like a very strong before COVID and after COVID for people. So this is how we chose to live our life from this point on. And it really was a lot that came together of, you know, my love of being in the kitchen and nurturing my family, and Zach's love of the outdoors and of animals. We have 6 dogs, so you might oftentimes hear them barking or see them in our videos. We'll share them with you as well. But we have a busy home, and we're going to share it as is. So we hope that you join us on our journey, and we're going to learn a lot along the way too. We do have a lot to share with you, and some upcoming things like this January, look up 3 Rivers Challenge from 3 Rivers Homestead. We plan on taking part in that, which is a challenge to work out of your pantry, out of your pantry. Don't do any grocery shopping essentially for the month of January and February. We don't have dairy on our homestead, so that is something that I will be supplementing still occasionally. Gotta have milk and cream for coffee. I run on caffeine. So that there are some stipulations that I'll dive into on a separate video. But we are going to be taking part of that for this January at least. And then if we have a few minutes, do you want to share maybe something of our canning, so we can tell you one of our favorite things that you can see, and maybe some recipes that I can share in the future with everyone?
Yeah, I mean, my favorite thing is definitely right here. So these are hot cherry peppers. We call them hot cherry pepper poppers.
Maybe you can show the label. I'm not sure if it'll see.
And
yeah, it shows pretty good.
The cool thing about all our jars is that Sam ends up customizing a label for them. So on 90% of these jars, they all have a custom label with what they are.
And the kids have gotten involved in designing them as well.
Yeah, I mean, everybody kind of likes designing their own little label and stuff, but I mean, these are just absolutely so good on, like, cheesesteaks is my favorite thing to have them on. I just take them out and chop them up into strips and then add them to the cheesesteak, or just, you know, pop them whole in my mouth with a bite or something. But I mean, they're so good. They're like a little bit hot and like really sweet.
They are sweet, yeah.
So these are definitely my favorite. One
of my favorites is our chicken soup. It's like, you know, medicine in a jar anytime you're sick. So this is, it's kind of hard to see there, but you have all of your base for chicken noodle soup in here. You dump it in a pot and add some noodles if you like noodles, or rice if you like chicken rice. There's the possibilities are limitless with this, but this is definitely a good one when you're not feeling well, to have dinner on the table in just a few minutes.
Yeah.
So this would be an example of like something that I pressure canned. The hot cherry pepper poppers, that's an example of something that I would be water bath canning. 2 different processes, but both things that we can share. So one of the other things that I would like to share would be something really cool that we've done this year, which is our hot sauces. All of here is hot sauce, and every single jar of hot sauce that we have preserved with peppers that we grew.
Yeah, this year we did, I think, what, 10 different hot sauces or more?
10 kinds of hot sauce.
10 different kinds of hot sauce with 10 different kinds of peppers. I forgot how many different peppers we grew this year, but
I think we had like 80 pepper plants.
Yeah, we had like 80 pepper plants, maybe 40 different varieties or something like that. But peppers is definitely one thing that we like to do a lot of, as well as like tomatoes and things like that.
Greens.
So, yeah.
Herbs. We do a lot of pesto, which isn't something that I would can, but that's a freezer preservation. So we do a lot of different forms of preservation, not just canning. But yeah, definitely fun to show the canning off. It's a lot of work that's gone into it.
Yeah,
So.
and you'll have to do like a whole video on that. I mean, people love the pantry videos. So.
I think there's probably 75 varieties of things here. We like variety, and we have found, certainly too, over time, that we're more of an ingredient-based canning than a total meal. We like to be able to take things that we have canned and create different meals with that. Even our oldest, she likes coming down here. She brings her little reusable shopping bag down the stairs. This is our basement, and does her little shopping through here to make a meal. And it's always a heartwarming experience when I see her come down here and learning the skills that we're trying to share with them. So yeah, like I said, we have a lot to share, and we plan on posting regular videos. We have our Facebook at Coal Country Homestead, as well as Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, all under Coal Country Homestead. We live in rural Pennsylvania. Our zone is 6. Right? 6. And we live in coal country, so it's fitting that we're the Coal Country Homestead. So, anything else you'd like to share?
I mean, we just want to be able to inspire you guys and have you learn along with us, and just be able to, you know, give you that inspiration to start your own, you know, homestead. And homesteading, people think that you have to have like a lot of land to be able to homestead. We only have, you know, not even quite 1 acre of land here where we're at. And we still have a 5,000 square foot garden, and also like a little orchard that we planted, and then a whole nother separate herb garden and
secret garden.
We call it the secret garden. And you'll see all that stuff in the coming videos. But I mean, you can homestead on a 1/2 acre, a 1/4 acre. I mean,
you can grow anything, even on a balcony. You can start somewhere.
You can start somewhere, start small, start in buckets, you know, and we'll have, you know, examples, you know, throughout the year of things like that. People that only have a small area of land can do. But even the chickens, depending on your code for your township or wherever you're at, you might be able to have, you know, 10 chickens or 5 chickens and just no roosters or something. So there's ways around it, and there's things that you can do to get started, you know, today. And so,
I mean, homesteading is more of a state of living, of how you choose to live your life, at least in my opinion. So I mean, I think even in a situation where you don't have a lot of land to grow your own, just buying that fresh produce and being able to...
even if you're buying local fresh produce where you know where it came from, which, I mean, everywhere has places like that, you know, a roadside stand that's 20 minutes away where you can get to know the farmer and the people who grew the food. I mean, that's almost as good as you growing it yourself.
Or even asking, like seconds they're called, where it's not the prettiest produce by American standards, but it's still edible. It tastes just as good, and a lot of the times it's at a fraction of the cost. I mean, we can everything that we grow that is cannable, but we do still supplement with different things that we can't grow here. I mean, one of the favorite things that my girls love is pineapples. I could never grow pineapples in Pennsylvania. But this is something that we buy, and I'm a very thrifty shopper too, so I'm always looking for the sales. Being raised by a single mother, I was, you know, taught very young the value of $1, so I will try and share any of my money saving tips with you. But I mean, like, I can grow a pineapple, but it's something that we buy and that we save money. And home canned pineapple, it's so much better than the stuff that you buy in a can. Completely different taste, texture, experience. If you taste this, you don't ever want to go back to the commercially canned. Completely different. So just like Zach said, we just want to inspire and to know that you can grow where you are, no matter what that looks like for you. So is that all?
I think that's it, guys.
But thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to see you along the way. Feel free to comment any of your what you'd like to see. If there's something that has caught your eye too on the shelves here, if you're interested in a recipe, I will always do my best to share that. I definitely plan on sharing some videos on like my favorite canning books, resources, kitchen appliances that we like and that we utilize a lot. We have our seed starting coming up, which is exciting, and submitting our seed orders. We're like kids in a candy store when the seed catalogs start rolling in.
We still haven't looked at this year's catalog, so I'm really looking forward to diving into that book and seeing what 2023 has to offer for us.
Yes, so we hope you join us, and Happy New Year, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Yep, Happy New Year. See you on the next one.
Bye-bye.